Welcome to Couch's Corner. I'm your host, Dana C. Volke, and today on Couch's Corner we're going to be talking about James Bond, the movies, the books, the comic strip, and the video games. Today with me I have my esteemed alumni colleague from Fitchburg State College, Dave Schweitzer. What's going on, Dave?
Dane, thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on the debut episode of Couch's Corner.
That's big.
Yeah,
That's
totally big, totally big.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, Dave, we're talking about James Bond today.
Yes.
Right. Now, most important question of the day.
Okay.
Have you seen every James Bond movie that there is today?
I have not seen License to Kill.
Oh,
that's the only one I haven't.
That's a good one.
The second Dalton one,
Yeah,
I think that's okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's the only one I haven't. The past year, I've tried to go through and see all of them.
Cool.
I saw the Brosnan ones as a kid. I like Daniel Craig's a lot, so I said, you know what? It's the 50th anniversary. I wanted to see all of them before Skyfall.
Sure.
I didn't see the License to Kill.
Gotcha.
But I made it through all the other ones. So
cool.
What about yourself? Have you seen them all?
Yes, I have. But the thing is I've seen the majority of them when I was a lot younger. We used to have this rental shop in town. They had all of them, literally just all of them on this one aisle.
Wow.
All of them boom, 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 boom like this.
Yeah.
And this is right around the time, I'm going to say, I think GoldenEye had just come out.
Okay.
So this is whatever it was, 95, 96,
Something
give
like
or take.
Yeah.
And I was so into GoldenEye. I was just nuts for GoldenEye. And I really wanted to watch all the other ones. So just consecutively, like every weekend, I would just rent every single one in order.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. And most of them I haven't seen since. Some of them are on like TBS Superstation once in a while, especially like the older stuff.
Thanksgiving, it seems like. That's when they really are kind of on TV,
Yeah. So, now have you seen the new one, Skyfall?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, have you?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, okay.
I was actually going to go see it with a buddy recently, but it was later at night, and I remember saying to myself, geez, I'm not in the mood to sit in a 3-hour movie right now.
It is long. It's like 2.5 hours or something like. It's like not quite 3, but I remember thinking like, this is pretty long for a Bond film, I felt.
Seriously.
I don't know if it's the longest. I think like the Majesty's Secret Service, the one with Lazenby.
Oh, sure.
I think that's the longest at about 2.5, but I don't know. Skyfall might be longer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. In a non-spoiler way, can you give me a review of Skyfall or something for me to anticipate when I go to see it at the theater?
Yeah. All right. So Skyfall, James Bond. Of the Daniel Craig ones, what I'll say is that this one really feels the most like a James Bond film.
Sure.
His other ones, they've got good action and stuff, and they've got little Bond moments, but this one's really got the true characteristics of a Bond film, It's got gadgets, it's got Q, stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
So it really kind of builds Bond back up to like the classic version that we really know. It's a revenge story. Javier Bardem is the villain, and he's phenomenal. One of the best villains I think the Bond series has ever had.
That's cool.
He's just captivating anytime he's on screen. And there's a lot of action. It's really good action. Character bits with Bond and his past, which is nice. It's really, it all just comes together really, really well. So it's excellent. I would probably say it was my favorite of the Bond films.
Of all of them?
I mean, who knows? License to Kill, maybe I'm missing out on something.
Maybe.
But I mean, I would, and like I will say, like I am biased because I do like Daniel Craig a lot. He kind of got me more into the series than others. But I really just thought it was a great film, some stellar performances, and some really exciting action.
That's awesome. That's cool. I'm glad that you said that because there's some things that you mentioned that I didn't know about, right? Where you said that this one definitely feels more like a traditional Bond movie. And it's definitely something that has been on my mind those last two Daniel Craig movies. You know what I mean? Both of which I did see in the theater. I do own Quantum of Solace,
yeah.
Whatever it is. And although I really wish I owned Casino Royale because I absolutely love that movie.
That one's very good.
Really good movie.
Yeah.
And but the thing is like you said, they're not really of the Bond tradition, if you will. Like every Bond movie always has, there's a mission Bond's got to go on to, talks to M. He goes and he talks to Q. Q gives him some gadgets to use during the movie. And then he says a bunch of stupid 80s-ish one-liners and stuff when he kills henchmen or whatever and stuff like that. And that's stuff that they didn't have in the last 2 movies. You know?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I remember Casino Royale. I loved Casino Royale. Before Skyfall, that was my favorite Bond film.
Yeah.
And, the Bond theme, the class, dun, 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 dun,
Sure.
I think they only play it at the end when he says the James Bond line.
Oh, man, I never even noticed that.
And in Quantum of Solace, I don't think they play it at all.
Really?
Because when I saw it in theaters, because you wait for that. It's kind of like a release when you see a Bond film, like, the action, the theme song, the hero's here. And I kept waiting for that and never got it. I remember when I watched it on DVD, I really tried to pay attention, and maybe I missed it. But this one especially, they bring back the Aston Martin. Is that the name of the car?
Yeah. That was from one of the older James Bond movies.
They have that in Skyfall, and
awesome.
when they show it, you hear the Bond theme, and you hear it on like the acoustic guitar, and you hear it on like the snare drums, like pure '60s classic Bond theme. And I was like, oh. Now we're cooking.
That's cool.
So it definitely feels like that, and they have Q in it.
That's cool.
He's not terribly outlandish with the gadgets.
Right.
But it definitely feels like more of the classic, and especially when the series, or not the series, but the movie ends, it really seems like, oh, okay, now we're back into what you picture.
Sure.
With the whole Bond thing.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, at the same time, like when I kind of think about that, it's almost like. I know when they came out with Casino Royale, it was almost supposed to be almost like a reboot, if you will, where it was kind of like a young Bond starting up in the MI6.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at behind the scenes stuff on Casino Royale and saying that the reason why they didn't have Pierce Brosnan do it was because he was too old, and they wanted a young guy for this kind of up and coming MI6 agent role and this and that. And I think that's kind of neat. Now that you mentioned that, it's back to like a Bond thing, whereas maybe that's kind of the thing where it's like we had to kind of get there.
Yeah,
so cool.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good point. One of the funny things that you say about that is in Casino Royale, Skyfall, they make some references to his age, and they call him like an old dog and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it is funny that they reboot, and then 3 films later they're calling him an old man again.
Yeah, sure.
But that made it like a pretty interesting element to it.
Cool.
And stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming you're going to say Daniel Craig, but of all the different Bonds, who would you say is your favorite?
For me, it is Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
I like him as an actor a lot. He's probably one of my favorite.
He's awesome.
I've seen a few bad movies because he was in it.
Okay.
So, I would say him. But after him, I guess it would have to be Connery.
Cool.
I've got nostalgia for Brosnan because of, growing up, it was him.
Me too. Just for all you folks at home, these are my VHS copies of my 2 favorite James Bond movies right here. We got GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies. And I never got to see either of them in the theater, although I really wish I did. And I never got to see them until I rented them actually on these tapes probably. And I know... I take it back. This one I bought at the store. I think I bought this at, what was that video store they used to have back in the day, like Pacific Video or whatever it was called.
Hollywood Video?
No, that was a rental store. It was like a store that actually just sold movies.
Oh, like
they always had them in the malls. So it was Suncoast?
Like Suncoast, maybe?
I think it was something like that.
They're always in like a small store in the mall, like in a corner somewhere, it seemed like. Any mall you went to, if they had it, it was in a corner.
There was one down near me that was over here in Marlboro. And either way, this one right here was the ex-rental copy from my local video store right here of Tomorrow Never Dies. And I'm in the same thing with you in that nostalgia business. To me, Brosnan is my favorite.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. I just thought, to me, he's always just been James Bond. And, to me, he is the quintessential James Bond. He has every trait that you would want them to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got all the cheesy one-liners, and he's this suave, womanizing dude, and and he does good action scenes too. So it's pretty cool. So. Yeah,
I will say he is, in a way, like you said, like a better Bond than even Daniel Craig. It's just my bias that gets in the way there.
Sure.
But yeah, he does have he really nails all the elements of it. GoldenEye is fantastic, one of the best of the whole series. And Tomorrow Never Dies is really good too.
Yeah.
His last 2 aren't that great, but he's so good it makes them better.
Yeah.
You know, like if those movies had been done with like, I was not a big Roger Moore fan per se.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
If he had done those movies, you'd be like, they're really not good. But Brosnan really does elevate them to a level that the scripts don't quite bring them to.
You know, it's funny because when I think of the Brosnan movies, we got GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day.
Yeah.
I think those were his 4. And to me, definitely they go in that exact same order of best to worst.
Yep.
Like, honestly, I mean, The World Is Not Enough, that's pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was pretty good. And the last one, funny enough, I actually saw the last one recently. I rented off of Netflix, the Die Another Day, because I remember when it first came out, I really didn't want to see it because I'd heard a lot of bad stuff about it. I heard it's like, oh, James Bond was kidnapped and tortured for a year as a POW, and now he's like this real hardened dude. And then you got what's her name from Swordfish in the movie, Halle Berry, and suddenly she's like a total like bad gunning chick in the movie, and I don't know, and it just didn't feel like Bond to me, like Pierce Brosnan Bond, and I don't know, and so I eventually watched it, and I was definitely kind of right where it didn't really have. Not to mention that one was totally jumped the shark too.
An invisible car at one point.
Yeah. You had an invisible car, ice palace in Alaska.
Goes up to like a Death Star at the end.
Yeah.
Like
what was that? It was like a beam of sunlight or something like that.
Yeah, because it was going to melt the Arctic ice and then drown us or something like that.
Yeah. But then, like, remember at the end, the main bad guy had that weird like suit on thing, like gloves and like robotic thing.
Kinda. Now, is he the guy who has diamonds like in his face or something?
He was the second bad guy. They had one bad guy. Who there was a case of diamonds. They were trying to do a swap, but diamonds and I'm gonna buy a bunch of diamonds for a couple $1 billion at the beginning of it. But there was a bomb in the case, and all the diamond pieces went into his face. That bad guy with diamonds in his face, his brother, is the main bad guy. But you know the guy with the diamonds in his face is Asian, and the other guy wasn't. But what it was the guy, kind of like in Face Off, he had changed his appearance so nobody would know who he was.
Yeah,
and that too was also pretty darn ridiculous.
Yeah,
so, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I mean, you know, like Brosnan definitely is good, and you know, it's hard to complain about him. But yeah, I remember I'm not a huge Halle Berry fan, so I didn't really get that excited when they said she was going to be the Bond girl.
Sure.
She didn't change my opinion of her really. So.
Sure. Same thing with me with I can't remember what her name. I'm so bad with names. The girl who was in not Die Another Day, The World Is Not Enough, who was in Starship Troopers.
Denise Richards.
Yeah. She played like something Christmas, I think her name was.
Yeah, Christmas. Because at the end, Christmas only comes once a year.
Yeah, right.
The classic line.
Yeah, I don't know. She just didn't fit as a Bond girl for me.
And she was supposed to play like a nuclear scientist, and she's running around like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well.
That's crazy.
Okay, I enjoy watching this, but
sure.
I'm going to give you a little leap of reality there.
Hey, to go off of somewhat of a spin, to kind of go off this whole Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig thing. Now, what was it? A year ago or 2 years ago, we had a new GoldenEye video game come out. Now, as everybody at home should know, you know, when GoldenEye came out, there was an N64 game that was huge. Everybody loves it. You played it, right? Back in the day?
Yeah.
Now, did you ever play the new one that came out for Wii?
No, I don't think I have. I definitely haven't, but it's intrigued me. But I heard not great things about it. So have you played it?
I own it, and it's very weird because to me it's almost like a slap in the face in a sense because and that's not even the gameplay. I just mean the fact that they basically took GoldenEye and put Daniel Craig in it and changed the storyline a bit. And
they changed the storyline.
They try to make it more modern because at the time, you know, the Alec Trevelyan in the original one, he was a Leon's Cossack, and I guess time frame wise, it wouldn't work with today. Yeah. Okay. So they tried to change around the storyline with that a little bit. There's a few things here. They made it more serious and stuff. And to me, it was like, they're taking one of what I think is one of the best James Bond movies of all, and they're saying, it's not good enough. We'll just throw Daniel Craig in there and make it like 2012 seriousness that's in movies today, and make this new video game. And, you know, to me, that's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I wish they had just remade it, you know, better graphics, but left the same, put Pierce Brosnan in it, or what, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, especially because there's a lot of nostalgia around that game, especially people our age, that I don't know. It seems like they probably did more work changing.
You'd think that. I mean, you think that their selling model was to guys like us who buy that game for the nostalgia, but at the same time, it has all like this modern warfare, Call of Duty kind of gameplay that all the young kids these days are playing that have probably never even seen GoldenEye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think that is strange. I don't know if they just were like, we need to mix it up a little bit, so we'll do what we can. But yeah, that is strange. So yeah, I have not played that one.
Yeah.
I did play a couple of the Bond games on PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah, they had Tomorrow Never Dies and Rolls Night Off. Those are pretty bad, I'm not going to lie.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
I rented those.
That was on PlayStation 1, I think, and that was like a third person, right?
Oh, there's so many different Bond games, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had, I think Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Isn't Enough, I think we're both on PlayStation 1, I think. I remember they had like Nightfire and a couple other games that were third person. Something like that. And they all had Pierce Brosnan in it too.
Yeah, the ones that I played on PlayStation 2, I think they weren't based off of a movie. I think it was just like something they created for a video game. Yeah. And I don't remember the name of them anymore.
I remember playing one. I think it was on GameCube, if I recall, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I liked those. I thought they were good because those were first-person shooters, and I thought that those were pretty fun.
Yeah.
You had cool gadgets because it was still pretty wacky and stuff. And I think, did you say Brosnan did the voice of
Brosnan
Bond?
was he was Bond.
Yeah, and I think he did the voice in it.
Yeah,
which is
he did.
Cool.
And I think Judi Dench did M too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So at the same time, now I just read a review today, this morning. They just came out with a brand new James Bond video game called 007 Legends.
Okay.
And this kind of goes off of that same theme, where the whole game, from what I understand, is now again I haven't seen the movie, but you know the review kind of spoiled it. Where I understand that James Bond gets shot in the new Skyfall movie, right?
Very early on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right.
It almost even feels like it's not a spoiler.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was in the trailer too, if I recall.
Yeah.
So in the video game, apparently he's shot. He falls into the water, and the whole game is he's in the water, and while he's in the water, he is thinking about all of his greatest adventures. And what it is it's basically taking a bunch of different scenes from different Bond movies from all different generations. Like Moonraker's in there. That ending scene from Die Another Day is in there. But you do it all as Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Right? So same kind of thing. It just seems kind of weird. Like, why wouldn't they just make a James Bond Legends game with all the different characters? The real James Bond. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
It just seems kind of weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I almost feel like I can see it from both sides where like, well, just keep a consistent Bond. He's the Bond now. But, I mean, if you are really just visiting his greatest hits, you know, the fans probably would be like thinking it's pretty cool. Now, do you know, is it first person or is it third person?
It is first person,
oh, okay.
yeah.
So
yeah.
you could just pretend you're like Sean Connery or Roger Moore doing
I suppose, yeah.
All you see is the...
yeah, that's right. It could be Timothy Dalton for all you, know.
You could be Timothy Dalton and GoldenEye if you wanted to be.
I suppose so. Hey, actually, that would be pretty cool because I always liked Dalton, to be honest with you.
You know, I've only seen the one of his, and I didn't think he was that bad.
Which one was this? The Living Daylights?
If that's the first one of his, then I saw that one.
That's my favorite Dalton one. I don't know what it is, but I like Living Daylights.
Okay.
That's a good movie. I don't know why I like it so much, but
yeah. Now, I guess, you know, what about like, because we haven't even really talked about the Sean Connery.
Okay, sure.
You know, the man who started it.
I will be honest with you, and maybe this is just me living in this generation. Don't get me wrong, I definitely respect a lot of those movies. I think they're pretty good. You know, but you know, some of them are pretty darn slow.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Some of them have their moments.
Not as bad as a Roger Moore. Some of the Roger Moore movies are crazy slow.
They drag. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because Connery did 6, I think, or 5. Dr. No, Russia with Love. Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, and then there was one more. Diamonds Are Forever?
Was that him?
Yeah, that was him. It was weird because You Only Live Twice, then it was the Lazenby one, and he came back.
Okay.
And I think it was Diamonds Are Forever.
You know what? Actually, I read about this. Apparently, oh God, which one was it? Sean Connery came back in 1983 to make
Never
one.
Say Never Again.
That is actually apparently a remake of Thunderball.
Yeah, and it's not an official Bond film.
Yeah.
It's like a whole...
I don't understand that.
It's weird because it's like I think somebody explained it to me that Thunderball, you know, Ian Fleming, the author of the Bond films,
Right.
he didn't actually like write Thunderball. Like he just like, you know, he had like a ghostwriter or something.
Okay.
And somehow somebody else was able to buy the rights to it because it was somebody else. But when they made Thunderball, because they were like, well, we own like James Bond. So it's very confusing.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
how
weird.
that happens, to be honest.
I don't know
with
how you
It
make an
seems-
unofficial Bond film. Wouldn't the company... I don't know. I don't know.
I heard, you know how the villain, Blofeld, I can never pronounce his name.
Right.
He's not been in one since like Roger Moore, because apparently whoever got the rights for that, you know, Thunderball Never Say Never, that's the book that character's introduced.
Oh.
And this is what I heard, at least. That's why we haven't seen that character in any since then, because they don't own the rights to that, like, you know, arch nemesis.
Yeah. Now, who would you say is your favorite Bond villain of all the Bond movies?
All the Bond movies.
And this doesn't have to be like the main guy either. This could be
Jaws.
like Jaws, you know, one of like the side bad guys.
You know, just thinking out loud, I really did like the new guy. What was his name? Not Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He was great. He was very captivating in the role. But I mean, Sean Bean's great in GoldenEye.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how can
he's
you
awesome.
not love him? Jaws is a great henchman.
Yeah.
Is it Moonraker? The second one he's in. He's not as good in that one.
Jaws?
Yeah, because he's in 2, and
yeah.
the second one he's in is kind of not as good.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if I had to choose one from I do like Blofeld, or however you say his name.
Right.
Sorry. You know, I think he's like a cool villain. It's kind of weird seeing him now because he's been parodied by Austin Powers and all that. That you're like, oh,
Right.
I kind of feel like I can't take him seriously.
Guy with the cat.
Petting a cat. He's bald. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
But what about you? Who would you say?
I'd say for main bad guy.
Yeah.
I'd have to say, geez, let's see. Yeah, either Alec Trevelyan from GoldenEye, or I always liked Elliot Carver from Tomorrow Never Dies. And I'd have to say my favorite side bad guy would have to be Mr. Stamper from Tomorrow Never Dies. He was like this big, like bleach blonde dude who was kind of like his right-hand man. And
Yeah,
like,
I can't remember that
I don't
now.
know. I mean, like he'd stab the guy 100 times and he doesn't feel any pain. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they're pretty good.
yeah.
It's funny that neither of us said like Goldfinger.
I know, right?
Maybe the most classic of like.
Yeah. It's funny too, because like that's usually like the most like quoted, most memorable Bond movie. Everybody knows that line of, you know, you expect me to talk, no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die line, and everybody's if you know Bond movies, everybody's seen that one. You know what I mean?
You know, I didn't even think that was Connery's best. That I personally, like, I liked Dr. No more.
Sure.
I kind of like Thunderball even more. But you know, it was. I mean, it's good. He's at that compound for so long, and like not much happens.
Yeah.
I feel like kind of dumb saying that because I hate people who are like, oh, it has to constantly be happening. But I was kind of at one point with that one, like, where are we going with this? Like,
Sure.
where's the killing? But
Yeah.
I mean, it is good. It's got, you know, like you said, all the classic moments.
Sure.
Everyone thinks it's the first Bond film also. My dad argued this with me. 2 people argued this with me
Now,
from like an older generation.
if I recall, now this is just from a little bit of research I did, you know, the internet, because that's reputable. You know, if I recall, I thought like you know, like Dr. No was the first, but wasn't like the Casino Royale spoof that came before that,
Featuring
or something like that?
the great Woody Allen.
Yeah, that's
he
right.
You find out, spoilers, he's the villain, and he's James Bond's cousin, Jimmy Bond.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a big Woody Allen fan, and his part's funny, but he's not in it much.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie, I think it's kind of long, to be honest with you. I think for a comedy, I was like, wow, this is like pretty long for being a comedy. I could be wrong, but maybe it just felt long.
Yeah. Old movies seem to have that feel. I don't know why. That's again like with the Roger Moore stuff. They just kind of keep going.
Drag. Yeah.
That was just the 70s is just a tough Tough time for that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean the Casino Royale one. I think it was like I think that one even predated Dr. No. So like it was had to have been like early '60s.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did see that one. I like the Daniel Craig Casino a little bit better.
Oh man, that movie's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I don't know why I just didn't buy the movie with her, but I recently rented that off of Netflix again just to watch it. And I don't know why. That movie's great.
Yeah.
It's great. You know?
I don't know like poker. I don't know card games. So the only thing is like the first time I saw it, they'd like flip the cards and be like,
oh yeah, they show them, but yeah, same thing. I don't get it.
Did he win? I don't know.
Yeah. I know what happens when the lady like puts the thing in his martini. You know, obviously that's poison, but I mean, you know. But yeah, so hey, listen, we're running out of time here on the show. But do you have any closing thoughts about James Bond that you want to say? Anything about like, do you want Daniel Craig to come back and do another one? Do you think it's time for a new guy? What do you think about for the future for James Bond?
Yeah, I would love to see Daniel Craig come back. I think I already signed for at least 2 more or something.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's good. I would love it if Sam Mendes, who directed Skyfall, came back. I don't know if he will. I'm a big fan of his movies in general. You know, he did American Beauty, Away We Go. But yeah, I mean, I like Daniel Craig. I think, he's now made 2 really great Bond films. Quantum's okay.
Right.
Like, it's a decent action film, but, it's nothing to write home about. But I like him. I like where the series is going. They've introduced some new characters in the new movie that it's exciting to see what they do with. So yeah, I'm excited for the future. I mean, this is the 50th anniversary, and I feel like hopefully it goes at least another 50 years.
That'd be awesome.
I think it will. I mean, 23 films or something like that in 50 years—that's an astounding number. Anytime someone says we have too many sequels, look at Bond.
Yeah, right.
It can endure.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
Pretty much the same thing. I just hope they keep pumping them out. I hope they keep staying good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, all righty. Well, we're just about out of time. But, Dave, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All righty. So, thank you guys for watching the show. We will check you out next time right here on Couch's Corner.